The Premier League resumes this weekend, and West Ham United will host Chelsea, the Blues, of course, the world champions, at the London Stadium. And West Ham United, in their first game, that disappointing defeat against Sunderland, will see if they can recover from that heavy defeat. Chelsea, on the other hand, failed to win that game against Crystal Palace at home. Looking at how they have revamped their squad, William Estivao, Joao Pedro, Jamie Gittins, together with their old squad, Cole Palmer and co, yet couldn't win that game. We'll also see if they can get their first 3 points of the season. The league continues on Saturday, where Manchester City will be at the Etihad Stadium and host Tottenham Hotspurs. This fixture in the last 5 meetings have produced a lot of goals. And of course, Manchester City, or Pep Guardiola, since he took charge as Manchester City coach, have lost more games in the Premier League or against Tottenham Hotspurs. He has won about 11 games against them. So it's really going to be an interesting game. Look at the fact that both teams won heavily in the match they won fixture. Tottenham Hotspurs beat Burnley 3-0, and then Manchester City beat Wolves 4-0. We saw that great combination between Mohamed Kudus and then Richarlison. And of course, Erling Braut Haaland was also on the score sheet, so I expect that that game produces a lot of goals. At the Vitality Stadium, Bournemouth, after that disappointing defeat against Liverpool, will look to see if they can also recover from that defeat. They will play against Wolves, who lost 4-0 against Manchester City. At the Brentford Community Stadium, Brentford will host Aston Villa. And of course, Brentford, they also lost their first game against Nottingham Forest 3-1. They are finding it difficult to deal with the Johan Wissers issue. And Aston Villa, also in their first game, they drew against Newcastle. In fact, if you ask me, that game they did well because they lost Ezri Konsa around 67th minute, and they were very resolute at the back, and they ran away with that point. Burnley versus Sunderland, Turf Moor. These two returnees will face each other. And of course, like I said earlier on, Sunderland, they were impressive in their first game after beating West Ham. They have a tough challenge against Burnley. These two teams returned to the Premier League this season. Of course, Burnley, we saw how Tottenham Hotspurs trashed them 3-0. At the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal's The Gunners will also host Leeds United. Both teams won their first game 1-0. And personally, I think this game, they all won that game in a controversial manner. Arsenal's, that goal against Manchester United, for me, was a foul on the goalkeeper. And of course, Leeds United, that penalty that was awarded to them against Everton was a no-no for me. These two sides will face each other on Saturday. At the Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace will play against Nottingham Forest. And that game is going to be a cracker. Crystal Palace, we've seen how they've been in their last 3 competitive games. We saw how they beat Manchester City in the FA Cup final. We saw how they beat Liverpool in the Community Shield, and how they played against Chelsea. Oliver Glasner is doing something great with Crystal Palace, but they will have to beat Nottingham Forest on Saturday to see if indeed they belong where they are now. On Saturday as well, at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, Everton will play against Brighton. At the Craven Cottage, Fulham will host Manchester United. And Fulham, they were very lucky in their first game against Brighton, where they had that late equalizer, Rodrigo Muniz, in the 90th minute. He equalized that goal. And of course, Manchester United, we saw how they played against Arsenal. If you ask me, it was so impressive. Their debutants, Brian Mbeumo and then Matheus Cunha, they were so brilliant, except that they couldn't get that important goal or goals against Arsenal. We'll see if any of these two sides can recover from their first game and get a win on match day 2. And then on Monday at the St. James's Park, Newcastle United, in fact, they are struggling on and off the pitch to deal with the Isak issue. And if you ask me, it is worrying them. They will host Liverpool, the defending champions. Though it was a heavy win against, Bournemouth, the most important thing was done. And these are the fixtures for the EPL this weekend.